Hi, welcome to today's and this week's class. My name is MJ if I haven't met you on here or in person before, and I'd like to today guide you into a little flow. It's about 45 minutes long. We're going to work towards cross pose. That's the pose that we work towards in class this week, so welcome. Find an area that you can put a mat, a blanket, or whatever works for you, an area to move. Have two blocks. As you can see, I do not have them. They're invisible for me. One mat, blanket, whatever you need, and maybe a bolster if you need something else to support the body. You can always have it handy. And so we are going to start in a toe squat position. Bring the toes to point forwards, the feet close together or about hip width, and you can sweep underneath the outer feet to get a more even, more comfortable stretch. Now if you need to put blocks under the front of the knees or under your bum, or you can lift up higher onto the knees, there's always an option to bring the hands either to the ground or onto props in front of you as well. The hands can rest beside you as well on blocks or on the thighs or maybe at heart center. And just start to move into Ujjayi breath. If you have an Ujjayi breath practice, that's dragging the air in and out of the nose, pulling at the back of the throat to either side of the ear. A slight restriction there, using the whisper muscle, so it is an audible breath. Breathing into the pelvis all the way in, and letting the low belly, the low back, the side waist expand as you inhale, and then pull back in as you exhale, all towards the spine. If the hands aren't already there, bring them to the heart center. Eyes can be closed or open. Inhale, lift the arms straight up to the sky. Outer hips, outer ankles hug. Exhale, goalpost the arms, pull the elbows down, collarbones wide. Inhale, extend the arms out wider. And exhale, hands to heart center. Now this can be as large or smaller movements as best for you. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, elbows pull back and down, ribs forwards and down. Inhale, open the arms a little wider, palms face up. Exhale, hands to heart. And one more time. Inhale, the arms lift straight up to the sky. Exhale, goalpost the arms. Inhale, extend the arms wider, shoulder blades pull back. Exhale, hands to heart. And now bring the hands to the ground in front of you. Bring the knees out nice and wide, big toes touch behind. Let's move back to a child's pose. If you need to support the chest or the forehead with blocks, you're welcome to. You can always put blocks under the forearms or the palms as well. If you're a little tighter, have the knees a little wider today. Collarbones and the upper back is nice and broad. The hips get heavy towards the heels. Always the option to pad the knees with the blanket if you need to support the body. I'm going to work a little bit with the hands here. So imagine you have cupcakes under the hands. You're just bringing the hands onto the fingertips so the elbows and everything else lifts up, wrist lifts up off the ground. Really feeling the center of the palms lift all the way up to the sky. And keep the upper back broad, the collarbones pulling wide, the arms reach nice and long. Really feel the back of the wrist lift nice and tall. I'm going to move a little bit, breath to movement here. Exhale, palms flat down to the ground. Inhale, again onto the fingertips, those little spider fingers. Exhale, palms flat. Inhale, fingertips, really lifting through the center of the palms all the way up. Exhale, palms flat to the ground. Inhale, turn the palms face up to the sky this time. Either stay here or bend the elbows. You might bring the fingertips to touch and create those little spider finger, puffed up fingertips, or bring the fingers onto the shoulders, walking the elbows in and forwards, keeping the upper back broad, the upper arms wrap out and down, the hips still press back and down towards the heels. Spine stays nice and long. The breastplate pulls forwards to the elbows. Again, maybe walking the elbows in and forwards, thinking of bringing the elbow tips towards the temples. Take one more full inhale breath. And on the exhale, release the palms to the ground. Inhale, come up to a tabletop position. Hands and knees about shoulder and hip width. Tuck the toes forwards, and the fingers can be together or spread comfortably. Hover the knees for a hovering tabletop, really supporting and containing the torso. The chest pulls forwards, collarbones wide, outer hips hug. Pull the ribs in and back towards the pelvis. Keeping the hips low, step the feet back to a high plank position. Lengthen the tailbone to the back of the heels. Pull your head forwards away from the heels, so really strong straight line. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips up and back. And walk the feet just a little bit wider than hips width position. Place the hands where it's best for you. Inhale, come up onto the tiptoes, lift the heels nice and high. Exhale, pivot the heels over to the right. Inhale through the center onto the tiptoes, exhale to the left. And then inhale, we'll come to the center and feel the ribs pull in, the upper arms hug in, forearms push forwards. Again, have the hands where it feels best for the shoulders, for the wrists. And continue to keep the rib cage pulling in and back. And stabilize through the outer left hip. Inhale, lift the right leg straight up to the sky, keeping the hips square to the ground. Now exhale, open the right hip up. You can bend the knee, reach the foot towards the left glute, or maybe straighten the leg. Now really hugging the outer left hip back, use the stability of the glute, shift forwards, keeping the knee nice and high, step outside of the right wrist. Wriggle the right foot up just a little further. We're going to just do a little bit of movement, press the palms down on the ground or on blocks, and let's take some circles, pivoting all the way, moving in an anti-clockwise direction. Pivoting on the left toes, and then change that direction, moving the opposite way, clockwise direction. And now turn the right fingers back towards the left toes, palm flat to the ground. You can do this with one hand or the right and the left. And inhale for slight cow of the spine. Exhale, cat of the spine, pushing into the palms and fingers. Again, slightly drop the pelvis, lift the chest. Exhale, round, slightly tucking the back of the tailbone down. Now turn the fingers to point forwards, this time flipping the right hand upside down. So the fingers still point back. Again, we'll move through cow, chest lifts. You can do it one or both hands as well. Exhale, rounding the spine. Again, inhale, pull the chest forward, slight cow. Exhale, slight cat of the spine. And turn the palms flat, fingers point forwards again. Lower the back knee for a runner's lunge. You can always stay up on the palms, you can always come to the forearms, or maybe place the blocks under the forearms, or walk the hands further forwards. If you'd like to take movement, that's an option. And just breathe. If you'd like this to be an active stretch with the back knee lifted, that's always an option as well. Spine stays nice and long, pressing into the right big toe mound, the outer right hip hugs in and back. Now if the back knee is lifted, lower it back to the ground and come up onto the left palm, whether there's a block under the palm or the palm on the ground. Inhale, lift the right hand straight up to the sky, and now pull the shoulders back towards one another behind you, squeezing the shoulder blades back and down. Reach the right hand back behind you, and now using just the left glute and hamstring, lift the foot off the ground, and then if you can, reach back with the right hand and grab the left foot for a quad stretch. If you do have the foot, kick into the hand and pull it in towards you. Really again, pull the left shoulder back away from the ear. You can always bend the left elbow as well. Take a full inhale. And exhale, slowly release the foot down. Place the right hand inside the right foot. Again on blocks if you need. Straighten the front leg. Option to flex the right toes. And then exhale, bend, lunging forwards. Right hip hugs back. Again, straighten the front leg. Pull the right hamstring back. Exhale, bend the front knee. Keep the front of the spine long. One more time, straighten the front leg, right hamstring pulls back, right outer hip in. And exhale, bend the front knee. Hands are either on the ground or the blocks. As you start to lean forwards, hug the right hip in. Exhale, frog squat, malasana variation. Left foot outside the left wrist. Hands to heart, elbows to knees. You can take a little sway side to side if that feels good. Press the elbows back, lift the front of the spine. Now you have an option to keep the hands here at heart or reach the arms forwards, really pulling the knees apart from one another. So using the glutes to support, hug them in. There's always an option to lift the arms a little bit higher, keeping the head and the chest lifted. Take a full inhale breath, nice and tall through the front of the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Keeping the feet wide, turn the toes forwards. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the front of the spine. With your peace fingers, grab around the big toes. So from the second under the big toe, seal the circle with the thumbs. And again, inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the chest forwards and up. And exhale as you pull yourself forwards and down. The inner knees and the hamstrings lift up to the glutes, shoulders back away from the ears. Press down into the toes and pull the collarbones nice and wide. Navel pulls forwards, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release the hands, bring the feet back in. The feet can be about a hip width position or a little closer if that feels better for you. Create a little bend of the knees. Inhale, mountain pose. Lift the arms straight up, the thigh bones press back. Exhale, hands to heart, Namaste. So lengthen the tailbone down, lift the inner arch of the feet up, and stand as tall as you possibly can. Think of lifting the crown of the head all the way up. Again, breathe in and out, Ujjayi, drag it in. Inhale, arms lift straight up to the sky. Bring the palms to touch, lift out of the low back, and think of lifting all the way up, maybe a slight little baby back bend. The tailbone pushes down to the back of the heels. The thigh bones push back, keep length through the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, tip forwards as the hamstrings lift up to the glutes. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. And again, exhale, fold forwards, tip down. Keep the bend in the knees. Inhale, chair pose. You have an option to either lift the arms to the sky, hands to heart, or hands to hips. Pull the knees apart slightly, pointing the kneecaps over the middle toes. Exhale, now bring the hands to heart if they're not already there. Pull the navel up. Inhale as you stand, lifting the left leg, little bend of the right knee. And again, the arms can be wherever they're most stable for you. The outer right hip hugs in. You have an option here to straighten the left leg. Keep pulling the left hamstring back. Exhale, slowly step the left leg all the way back. Take your time, leaning forwards as a counterbalance. Continue to hug the right hip back. As you step the left toes behind you, lower the left knee to the ground. Inhale, crescent moon. And the hips are back, left hip on top of the left knee. The front of the pelvis pulls up, outer right hip wraps down and back as you press into the right big toe mound. Exhale, goalpost the arms, lift the chest. Inhale, extend the arms wide. Exhale, hands to heart center, just like the starter class. Continue to hug the outer hips in and think of pulling the right hamstring back to the right glute. As you inhale, lift the arms straight up to the sky. There's a couple of options. Either grab opposite elbows, lean up and over to the right side. You have an option to reach the right hand to the ground or onto a block. Inhale, lift back up to the center. And exhale, bring the hands to the ground, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Now without scraping the right foot up to the sky. You can either stay here, moving the knee around in big circles in both directions, or if you'd like to flip it into a wild thing, right foot comes to the left side as you push the hips up. The right hand reaches back behind you, and then slowly pivot back through, hands to the ground, feet to the ground. And keep the right kneecap pointed forwards. Inhale, lift the left leg straight up to the sky behind, hips square. Exhale, open the hip to the left, option to bend the knee, and then the same option to again straighten the leg. The right outer hip hugs back, and again the arms hug in. Keep the knee nice and high as you start to lean forwards and bring the foot outside the left wrist. And you can wriggle the left foot up a little further. Let's again take those circles, so you're moving the shoulders forwards in front of the wrist, in one direction, then changing it to the opposite direction a couple of times. And then turn the left fingers back towards the right toes. You can do this with both hands or just the left. Cow pose of the spine, cat pose of the spine. And one more time, cow pose, press into the palms and fingers. Exhale, cat. And then turn the fingers forwards, this time flipping the left back of the palm to the ground. Again, the fingers still point back. And you can do this with both hands or just the one. And again, cow, and then cat, wrapping the navel and ribs in. One more time, cow, collarbones wide. And exhale, cat of the spine. And again, the palms flat to the ground, lower the back knee down into your runner's lunge, whether it was the knee to the ground, passive, or the knee lifted, active. You can stay on the palms, come to the forearms. Maybe use the blocks if that feels better for you. If you need a little movement or just staying in stillness, really listening to this side of the body, to what it's telling you. The outer left hip can hug in, left big toe mound presses down. As you now come up onto the right palm or right hand on a block. Inhale, left arm straight up to the sky. Pull the shoulder blades back, especially the right one, maybe a little bend of the right elbow. And exhale, left hand back behind you again. Keep the collarbones wide. Bending the right knee, lift the foot off the ground, pulling the foot towards the right glute. And if you can, reach back with the hand, grab the foot. If you do have it, kick into the hand, pull the foot towards the glute. Hug the outer left hip in. Again, keep the collarbones wide. And create that resistance between hand and foot. And slowly release the foot back to the ground. Bring the left hand back to the ground inside the foot, whether it is on a block or the ground. And straighten the front leg, pull the left outer hamstring back, option to flex the toes. And exhale, bend the front knee, keeping the front of the chest lifted. Inhale, straighten. Again, outer left hip hugs in and back, maybe slightly lifting. Exhale, bend the knee. One more time. Inhale, straighten the front leg, pull the chest forwards. And exhale, bend the front knee. We'll do it one more time. Straighten the front leg, really pull the outer left hip back. And exhale, bend the front knee. Keeping the hips nice and low. Start to lean forwards, left hip hugs. Step the right foot outside the right wrist. Again, frog squat. Again, you're welcome to sway side to side. Having the feet as wide as you need so the heels are on the ground. Or if you need to put the blanket under the back of the heels, please try that. And the arms can stay or the hands can reach forwards or up to the sky. Pulling the inner knees out and back. The glutes hug back behind to support. Take one more full inhale. And then on the exhale, tip forwards and down, lifting the hips up, forward fold. Again, keep the feet wide, just turn the toes forwards. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, Padahastasana, gorilla pose. Plant the hands all the way under the feet if you can, toes to the wrist creases, lengthening the spine forwards and down. Shoulders pull back away from the ears. As you tip the weight forwards, press the toes down. Keep pulling the inner knees up, the hamstrings up. Spine stays long. Relax the head. And think of lengthening the navel forwards away from the pubic bone. Take another full inhale breath. And a full deep exhale, dragging the air in and out. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release the hands from under the feet. And again, bring the feet to about a hip width position. Bending the knees, inhale, mountain, coming all the way up, arms lift to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center, Namaste. Again, standing nice and tall. Find the strength from the front and the back of the body, stabilizing, finding that center line, lifting the crown of the head all the way up from the inner arch of the feet. As you press the thigh bones back, the glutes slightly forwards, stabilize the body. Inhale, lift the arms straight up to the sky, stand tall. And again, bring the palms connected above you, lifting out of the low back, really lengthening up, maybe a slight little baby back bend. The glutes send down to the heels. Thighs stay firm again. Exhale, bend the knees, tip forwards and down into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the front of the spine. Exhale, fold. Keep the outer hips hugging, knees point forwards. Inhale, chair pose. Again, sit the hips back, ribs pull in and down. Point the knees forwards, lengthening the groin out to the inner knees. The ribs pull back and down, hands come to heart. Inhale, stand up and lift the right leg. There's always an option, little bend of the left knee. And hug the outer left hip in. The arms can be wherever they do feel best, to the sky, to the heart, to the hips. You have an option here to straighten the right leg, really hugging the outer left hip in, the left quad back. As you slowly tip forwards, bringing the right leg back behind you, lengthen the spine, and then slowly step the right foot all the way back. Once the toes are down, lower the knee, either tuck or untuck the toes. Inhale, crescent moon, arms lift up, the pelvis is in an upright position, the outer left hip hugs back and down. And hugging the outer hips in, left hamstring pulling back. Exhale, goalpost the arms, lift out of the low back again. Inhale, extend the arms wide. Exhale, hands come back to heart center. And pull the front of the hips up to the rib cage down. Inhale, arms lift straight up to the sky. Exhale, grab the opposite elbow on top and lean over to the left side. Again, you can release the left hand down on the ground to a block. Inhale, arms lift straight back up. And exhale, hands come either to the ground or to the blocks. Back knee lifts. Without scraping, inhale, left foot up to the sky. Again, you can stay here. You can open the hip, move the knee around in circles, bending the leg, straightening it, or moving into a flip dog or a wild thing. Bringing the left foot over to the right side of the mat, reaching the left hand back, pushing the hips up, really using the hamstrings. Tailbone lengthens away from the back. And then bring yourself back to a downward facing dog when you're ready. And as you inhale, look forwards, and then make your way to the top of the mat however you would like to get there. And feet about a hip width or closer together if that feels better. And forward fold position. Inhale, chair pose. Bend the knees, point the kneecaps forwards. Keep the inner thighs lengthening towards the inner knees. Again, you can always have the hands at the heart, the hips, or the hands lifting up to the sky. Whatever feels best for the shoulders, whatever you can keep the spine nice and lifted and supported. And exhale, hands come to heart. Inhale, stand up, lift the leg. Left leg lifts, always that option to straighten it. Exhale, as you start to tip, bring the left leg back. Take a full inhale, lengthen the spine, really create that counterbalance. Right hip hugs back. Exhale, left foot comes to the ground. This time left heel comes down as we set up for a warrior two. The left toes angled in, maybe a slightly wider than heel to heel alignment of the feet, arms reach wide. Inhale, reverse warrior. We're going to flow through, keep the bend of the front knee. Exhale, side angle pose with Utthita, left arm reaches. Inhale, reverse triangle, straighten the front leg, reach all the way up as you pull the right kneecap up. And exhale, hands come to the ground, framing the right foot, start to lean forwards. Inhale, left leg lifts up off the ground, hips are square to the ground. Now place the hands flat, whether it's on the ground or the blocks, lean forwards and come up onto the right tiptoes. Think of lifting the right outer hip, hugging the outer right hip back. Leaning forwards, push into the palms, bring the knee to the chest and step forwards into a forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, the arms lift up. And exhale, again, hands are either at the heart, the hips, wherever they're fine for the body. Inhale, the right leg lifts all the way up. Exhale, as you bring the right leg back, tip forwards. And again, hug the outer left hip in. Inhale, as you bend the left knee. And on the exhale, step the right foot down. And again, setting up for that warrior two, right toes angled in, left knee tracks open. And take a full inhale, reverse warrior, track the left knee open, keep the bend of the knee. Exhale, side angle pose, again with Utthita extended. Inhale, left arm reaches back for reverse triangle, pull the left kneecap up. And exhale, hands to the ground, frame the left foot. Inhale, tip forward, standing splits, again bring the palms flat on the ground or the blocks. Lean forwards, push into the palms, come up onto the left tiptoes. Really hug the outer left hip back, take a full inhale. On the exhale, bring the knee all the way into the chest, pushing into the palms, and then forward fold, feet flat to the ground. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, squat and curl, come to a little ball. You can just stay here, forehead into the knees, maybe fingers on the ground, maybe lifting the hands off the ground. You can bring the forearms around the shins, maybe even trying to close the eyes with this. And you also have an option to move into an arm balance of Bakasana, crow pose. So the hands will be about shoulder width distance. If you'd like to try this with your hands on blocks as well, that's an option. And bend the elbows slightly, tip forwards, or you can always keep the arms straight and then lift maybe one foot up, maybe both feet up. Really feeling the feet lift up towards the glutes. Grab with the fingertips, press into the palms, outer arms hug in. Keep the ribs pulling in and back, but continue to breathe down into the very low abdomen. And then there is another option to move into a garland pose, which the big toes are together, knees are wide, and try and bring the hips back with the heels to the ground. And the arms can be forwards or backwards. If you have the heels to the ground easily, bring the forehead towards the ground as well. Collarbones stay wide. And continue to breathe in any of the choices that you choose. A couple more breaths here. And then we make our way to a standing forward fold. We're going to change it up just a little bit. And from a forward fold, inhale, chair pose, bend the knees, sit back, keep the inner thighs long, and exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, stand up, lift the left leg, again always the option to straighten it. And exhale, slowly tip back, this time into aeroplane pose. The hands can stay at heart, come to the hips or fly back behind you. You have an option to reach the arms forwards into a warrior 3 as well. Continue to hug the outer right hip back. Keep the length from toes either to the crown of the head or to the fingers. As you slowly bend the right knee, step the left foot back. Inhale, warrior 2. Set the feet up to what's best for the body. Exhale, side angle pose, extended version. Take a full inhale breath, keep tracking the right knee open. And exhale, sweep into Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. Keep the inner knees and the hamstrings lifted up and move the hips forward so they're in line with the ankles. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Skandasana to the left. Bend the left knee. You might be on the tiptoes here. Right toes can flex in. Exhale to the right hand side. You can crawl the hands along the ground or hands to heart. And then one more time, exhale to the left hand side, Skandasana, right thigh pulls in, full inhale, and exhale, Prasarita, again, wide leg forward fold. And you're welcome to just stay here in a wide leg forward fold, outer hips hugging. The last few weeks we have worked with Tiribhasana, firefly pose, so you're welcome to work into that as well. I'm not going to break it down that much, but the hands are about shoulder width. The hamstrings rest on the triceps. You might just stay here. Elbows squeezing back and in, triceps hugging, maybe lifting one or both feet up off the ground. Really gripping with the fingers again. Thinking of slight cat pose of the upper spine, really lengthening the back of the legs. Taking your time. You can play around with this and pause the video, start it whenever you need to again. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, low lunge, pivot to the right. Bring the left palm to the ground. Inhale, right arm straight up to the sky. Again, shoulders pull back. And toe heel the right foot just a little further to the right. Take a wider stance. Flexing the right toes up. Pivot to the outside of the feet, horizon lunge. Make sure the ankles are hugged in. The toes are flexed, so you're really supporting the body here. Shoulders pull back. And inhale, lift the hips up just once. And exhale, plant the right hand to the ground back to a lunge position. Keep that wide stance and bring the right hand under the back of the right thigh. Maybe again those spider fingers. Maybe the hand lifts off the ground, moving into either a half or raising the left arm out to the side to a full cross pose. You're welcome to bind the hands behind the back or keep the arms wide, hugging the right hip back, the chest pulls forwards, left thighs firm. And releasing when you're ready. And stepping into a standing forward fold, feet together at the top of the mat. Let's do the other side. Inhale, chair pose, bend the knees. And exhale, again, hands to heart. Inhale, stand up, right leg lifts, that same option to straighten the leg. And exhale, aeroplane pose, Dakasana. Pull the right leg back. Chest forwards, hands at heart, hips behind you, or a warrior 3, arms come forwards. Really hugging the outer left hip back. Keep the tensegrity from right toes to fingers all the way forwards. Step the right foot back. Inhale, warrior 2, open up. Left knee tracks open. And exhale, side angle pose. Right arm comes up and over the ear. Take a full inhale, turn the nipples to the sky. Left knee tracks open. And exhale, Prasarita Padottanasana. Again, wide leg forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, lean forwards. And exhale, Skandasana to the right. Bending the right knee, pull the left thigh in. Take a full inhale. Left toes can flex or stay on the ground. Exhale to the left leg. Again, right toes might flex in. And one more time, exhale to the right leg. Opening the knee, the hands can be wherever it feels best for you. And exhale back to Prasarita, wide leg forward fold in the center. You can again stay in Prasarita if you'd like to move into Firefly one more time. The fingers point in the direction the toes are facing. Maybe the hands are on blocks. You might just stay here, practice letting the hips get low, or maybe lifting one or both feet up off the ground. The legs gently hug into the arms hug into the center as well. You really feel the upper back strengthen. Maybe looking forwards, lengthening the back of the legs, taking your time. Again, you can pause the video and come back to a wide leg forward fold whenever you're ready. Inhale, lift halfway, lean forwards. Exhale, low lunge, pivot to the left, again planting the right hand to the ground. Inhale, left arm up to the sky, shoulder blades pull back. Take a wider stance, left foot further to the left, flex the toes up, and then move into a horizon lunge. Pivot to the outside of the feet, flex the toes in, shoulders pull back, maybe a little bend of the right elbow. And just once, inhale, lift the hips, reach over the ear. And exhale, plant the left hand back down. And again, keep that wide stance. Bring the left hand or the left arm under the front of the left thigh, maybe on spider fingers, fingertips, or the left arm might reach out to the side. You keep the right hand on the ground, or maybe reach the right arm out to the side, hugging the outer left hip back, the right thigh stays firm. Again, bind the hands if that works for you, pulling the chest forwards. Left hamstring pulls back to the left hip. Then again, releasing when you're ready and stepping into a forward fold at the top of the mat. You're always welcome here to play around with any other arm balances, maybe pausing the video and just restarting when you're ready. We are going to work into a little bit of standing into a forward fold from a seated position. So if you have your blocks handy, you might want to put them under your bum. For me at the start, I was just trying it out. Normally this is something that's really easy for me, but my body has been acting a little differently lately. But the feet are together, knees wide, like a squatting child's pose. You're going to reach in between the knees and come up to a standing forward fold, thanks to a little bit of help with the grass. And then again, sit the hips back down, taking your time. We'll do this a few times. Feet press down, the outer hips hug your bum forwards as you come up to a standing forward fold again. But for me today, it wasn't happening, so I grabbed a prop to make it a little bit easier. So again, sit on a block or a blanket, feet together, knees wide, come into a standing forward fold, and then sit back down as slow as you can. Doing this a few times, knees wide, reaching forwards, coming up. And then again, knees wide, sitting the hips back. You might need to use the arms as a counterbalance. Do it one more time, nice and slow. Hips lift up, really hugging the outer hips in. And then slowly again, bringing the hips down, knees wide, coming to a seated position. Now you can remove the prop that's under the hips and come to sit on the ground. Once on the ground, bring the soles of the feet together, the knees are wide. Either peace fingers around the big toes. You're welcome to hold the ankles, the feet, the shins, whatever feels best for you. You can always sit up on the prop if that feels better. As you lengthen the spine forwards, the inner shins pull up, Baddha-Konasana. The outer knees pull back and down. Think of tipping the front of the pelvis forwards, keeping the collarbones wide, shoulders pulling back. Every inhale, lengthen all the way through to the crown. And the exhale, bring the body further. Inhale, lift all the way back up. And exhale, bring the soles of the feet flat to the ground, about a hip width position. The hands come behind, a little bit behind the hips. Either fingers point forwards towards your bum or the hands turn further out, whatever feels best for the wrists and shoulders again. Inhale, reverse tabletop. And hands to feet is the same distance from underarms to knees. Really using the hamstrings to lift the hips. The head can stay forwards, or you can let the head rest back on the traps. The shoulder heads pull back. Exhale, hips flat to the ground again. Now extend the legs forwards. Always an option to bend the knees a little, or again sit up on a prop if it helps with the pelvis. Inhale, the arms lift straight up to the sky. The toes flex back. And then again, tip from the pelvis, exhale, fold forwards. Hands either to the feet, maybe to the ankles, the legs, or the ground, wherever it works. Again, pull the chest forwards, ribs pull in and back. The inner legs push forwards through to the inner high arch. The outer arch, the lateral arch, pulls back to the outer hips. And again, we keep the spine nice and long. Back of the neck as neutral as you can. Take one more full breath. Pull the outer hips back and in. Inhale, lift all the way up. And exhale, bring the hands behind you. Now, if that previous pose, reverse tabletop, was fine for you, please do that again. Otherwise, fingers forwards or out. Inhale, Purvottanasana. This time the hips lift up, the toes come to the ground. The hamstrings again really lifting up. You can always create a little bend of the elbows, pulling the shoulder heads back. And again, the head either forwards or letting it rest back if it's okay for the neck. Pushing the hips nice and high, press the toes, the inner toes down, the big toe mounds. And then when you're ready, exhale, hips to the ground. And now taking any props with you back towards the back of the mat, we're going to roll onto our back to the count of 10. Slowly moving back. Keep the legs firm. The toes can either flex in or out. 9. The hands can be forwards or up. Pull the ribs down. 8. 7. 6. Moving nice and slow. Focus on the breath. 5. 4. 3. 2. Really think of stability and strength through the rib cage. 1. All the way down. And once on your back, happy baby pose. Bring the knees to the underarms. You can either grab the big toes with the peace fingers, pressing the back of the pelvis down. You might need to lift the chin slightly to create a little space in the neck. You can grab the back of the legs or the ankles or even the outer feet, wherever it feels best. The spine stays long, collarbones pull wide, the biceps pull the knees down towards the underarms. You're welcome to stay still or maybe move side to side. As you continue to drag the air in and out. Exhale, hug the knees to the chest. And then bring the feet to the ground. Feet together, knees wide, feet pressed down. Inhale, butterfly bridge. So the feet are flat to the ground, just as close together as possible. Knees are nice and wide, the outer hips are hugging up. Again, lift the chin so the upper neck's off the ground. The triceps press down. You can always interlace the hands if that feels good. If you have a different back bend, maybe a supported bridge or maybe moving into wheel, you're welcome to move into that here. Continue to press into the feet nice and stable. Exhale, release the hips back to the ground. And walk the feet nice and wide. And slowly let the knees sway over to the left and then the right. Arms can be wherever it feels best. You can pause on one side a little longer if that feels good for you. And taking your time. If you need to walk the feet just a little wider, find comfort here. Legs don't have to come all the way down to the side. And if you do prefer to take a deeper twist, you can take a different twist if you know one. Continue to drag the air in and out. The last couple of moments of class, taking Ujjayi. Listening to the body. If there is anything else that you do need to take, maybe taking that now. It might be closing the spine in a different way. It might be moving into a completely different pose. Another happy baby, a different twist, a legs up the wall, a supported pose. If you have any blocks or a bolster, listen to what the body's telling you and then move accordingly. Always the very best thing to be doing in a class. And taking your time, finishing off anything that you may be doing that the body has been asking for or that you feel ready for. And the legs come back to the center, knees hug in towards the heart, forehead to the knees. As you now release the body into our resting pose, we move into Shavasana. Placing any props under the back of the knees. If you had a preference of a different support or a different pose to allow the body to rest in, please do. Arms can be wide. You can put any props or hand towels or anything over the eyes if you need to shut out any external distractions or if the light's a bit bright for you. And as you're here, just allow the body to drift off. Listen to the noises. Feel the sensations. Notice smells, notice tastes. Notice everything, but without it changing you, without it affecting you. Just allow yourself to be. please remember to stay here as long as you need, as long as you like. When you are ready to continue with your day, take a deeper breath. Maybe start with tiny little movements in the fingers and the toes, in the face. Maybe letting those movements grow until you feel that you could maybe take a stretch, or even bring the knees in, moving any way that might be calling to you. Moving slowly, feeling everything as it is here and now. And then again, taking your time, however you would like to make your way there, begin to make your way to a seated position that's comfortable. In that seat, you might be rolling off to the side or rocking up, maybe sitting up on a bolster, blanket, or your blocks. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit on your heels. Eyes can be closed or open. You can have the hands resting on the legs, in the lap, at the heart. And just thanking yourself for taking this time, for giving it to yourself, your mind, your body, connecting, breathing, being aware. Thank you for making this world a better place by doing this, for helping your friends, your family, very importantly yourself. As usual, I truly appreciate you. I appreciate you watching this, sharing it. Anyone else that might need to move their body today. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate every single one of you for everything you do for yourself, for those around you. As we bring the hands to prayer, thumbs to the third eye, we bow in thanks. Namaste. Thank you so much for spending this time today. I hope you gained what you needed. I hope you feel that the mind and body is connected. You feel that gentleness, the calmness. Use it how you need to as you continue into the rest of your day. Again, thank you so much. My name's MJ. Please let me know any comments, any feedback, any questions, any requests. I'd love it. Have an amazing rest of your day.